Hello viewers. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to explain a sci-fi thriller action movie titled Chaos Walking. It is a 2021 American dystopian science fiction action thriller film directed by Doug Liman. It is based on Ness's science fiction trilogy Chaos Walking, adapting its first book, 2008's The Knife of Never Letting Go. It follows a young man who lives in a dystopian world without women, where all living creatures can hear each other's thoughts in streams of images, words and sounds, called noise. When a woman crash lands on the planet, he protects her from danger. Keep watching the video till the end to unveil the mysteries. The film is set on the New World, a planet far removed from Earth. A world with no sunsets. Some humans departed Earth in search of a better life and colonized a portion of the planet. In the New World, humans discovered all they had on Earth and more. When mankind first arrived on the new planet, they discovered that all men were suffering from a sickness known as the noise. This ailment allows everyone to see and hear a man's thoughts. Although this condition exposes one's private thoughts, it might be a disadvantage, particularly for teenage guys. The human colonists were embroiled in a brutal civil war with the indigenous humanoid race known as the Spackle. The Spackles purportedly murdered all of the female human colonists throughout the conflict, while only half of the males survived. The initial wave of human colonists have since lost communication with the Earth and the outer world. Todd, a young boy, is strolling his dog, Manchi, through the forest. As he walks, a halo of colorful smoke appears to form around his head. A black man on horseback approaches Todd as he travels through the woods. Todd is aware of a rumbling in his mind. He wonders why the black man is still walking about him, especially when the churchgoers have virtually disappeared. Before leaving, the horseman gets off the horse and smacks Todd in the face, forcing him to fall backwards. Todd, on the other hand, remains still as the horseman disappears into the woods. Todd has yet to glimpse a lady because there are no women on the New World planet. Todd then wanders towards town, where the mayor's son, Davy, dismisses him as a misfit orphan. Todd then produces a snake with his noise, knocking Davy from his horse. But, before they can fight, David, the mayor, comes. Todd tries to hide his noise by simply thinking about his name, and David compliments him on his control of his noise, stating Davy might learn from Todd. He then returns home to his adopted parents, Killian and Ben, two farmers who live together. They all eat together, and Todd informs them about his feelings for the mayor. A spacecraft reaches the planet's atmosphere from deep space. The astronauts talk about the first wave of settlers and wonder if they survived because they haven't made touch with them. As they hit the planet's atmosphere, the noise begins to take effect, and the men begin to fear. When a fault occurs, the vessel erupts into a ball of flames and begins barreling into the sky. Todd notices a man stealing from their barn the next day. He and Manchi pursue the stranger, but the thief is too swift for them. He pursues the thief and eventually arrives at the crash site of the spaceship. He notices numerous burials on the ground and returns to town to notify the mayor. He attempts to remain silent on his journey, but the other guys hear and see his thoughts about the wrecked spacecraft, and they all proceed to examine the crash spot and loot some ship components. Mayor Prentice assumes that the survivor must be a female after learning that she made no noise and sends his soldiers to seek for her. The girl appears while Todd is alone. Todd is terrified, astonished, and charmed to see a female for the first time. Todd, unable to control his loudness, unwittingly alerts the residents of the town to her location. Prentice surrounds the girl with a 3D holographic cage and captures her as she escapes deeper into the woods. Prentice brings her to his house and expresses his sorrow about the deaths of the other two crew members. The girl finds out about the disturbance and the conflict with the Spackle, which led to the murder of every woman in Prentice Town. When Prentice questions her about her purpose, she explains that the mothership sent her here as a scout ship to establish contact with the colonies of the first wave. The mothership is the biggest ship in the second colonist fleet, with a capacity of 4,000 passengers. It will soon arrive to save her. When Prentice continues to question her about the spacecraft, inquiring about its landing spot and time, the girl becomes skeptical of his intentions. The mayor abandons her with his fool son, who immediately begins shuffling her suitcase and discovers an interesting gadget. It turns out to be a weapon, which he accidentally ignites, nearly killing them both. She exploits this as a distraction and flees once more, crawling beneath the preacher's house. Before leaving the hamlet, the girl overhears a talk between the mayor and the preacher about an ambush on her ship when it arrives. The mayor wishes to seize control of the ship. The pastor thinks she's an angel. Todd returns home and discovers the girl hidden in the barn once more. He realizes how terrified she is, so he chooses to assist her while remaining anonymous. Todd even attempts to hide it from his stepfathers, but even without his noise, they can see right through him. They determine how he will protect her, so she doesn't end up in the clutches of the mayor. Then one of his stepfathers informs him that there is another community on the planet and that he must transport her there for her protection. The mayor comes at the homestead hunting for Todd and the girl before they can depart for the neighboring community known as Far Branch. She and Todd manage to flee, but the mayor's son murders one of Todd's stepfathers. The mayor dupes Ben into assisting in the capture of Todd in order to save him. The girl's name is revealed to be Viola, and Todd and Manchi begin their trip towards the distant branch, oblivious of what awaits them there. Along the journey, they begin to interact and discover more about one another. She tells him she has never seen the ground or felt rain on her skin. On the colonizing ship, she was born. Her parents were both born and died there. Todd informs her that he, too, lost his mother as a baby. Both of them were orphans. Todd rapidly falls in love with Viola, channeling his dreams about her via his loudness. Naturally, she despises it. They come across one of the native spackles on their way to the distant branch. Todd battles it and wants to kill it since he believes it is one of the spackles that killed his mother. Viola begs him not to kill it, and they realize that the monster is as terrified of them as they are of it. When Todd and Viola arrive to the colony, they are confronted with a great deal of animosity and resentment. People want to hang him when they find out he is from Prentisstown. Fortunately, the mayor of Far Branch does not permit this. Todd rapidly discovers that everything he thought he knew about the new world was a deception. The most crucial discovery he makes there is that not all of the ladies are dead. In reality, he discovers the heinous truth about his own settlement. It was the man, not the local spackles, who murdered all the women. The man despised the fact that the ladies could hear all of their thoughts but he could not hear theirs. That is also how his mother died. Far Branch, unlike his own Prentisstown, is filled by both men and women, with tiny children of both genders and ages wandering around and a woman serving as mayor. She houses and shields the two of them from both her own people and the men of Prentisstown. Viola is disappointed to hear that there is no contemporary technology at the distant branch and that she cannot contact her ship from there. However, the mayor of the remote branch informs her that there is another location where she may find a transmitter to convey her message. Todd and Viola's friendship strengthens throughout their stay at the Far Branch settlement as she reads sections from his mother's journal to him. His hatred for Mayor Prentice intensifies when he hears his mother explain the circumstances in Prentisstown before the women are slain. The spackles do not appear again. Meanwhile, Mayor Prentice and his soldiers are approaching the Far Branch. He and the pastor don't seem to agree on what they should do with the girl when they discover her. The preacher just wishes to murder her in the service of his religion, but Prentice requires her to provide the information he seeks in order to ambush the ship and take it over. When they get to the settlement in the corner, Todd's stepfather Ben assists them in creating a diversion. With his cacophony, he projected a duplicate of Viola and fools the mayor just long enough for the two of them to flee again. This time, however, Prentice and his men are considerably closer on their heels as they pursue them once more. Even if he fails to kill Viola or Todd, the preacher is the first to catch up with them. As a warning, he seizes Manchi and brutally murders it. Viola and Todd come to the wreckage of the spacecraft that carried the first wave of colonists to the New World. She notices that there is a transmitter in the ship, but the antenna is damaged. Todd goes to repair the antenna as she waits for it to connect. At the same time, Prentice and the preacher zoom in on the devastation. While they fight, the preacher's cacophony demonstrates that he has lost his mind due to his own mistaken religious views, as well as sexism and rage. Viola uses one of her sophisticated technologies to murder him in self-defense. Todd confronts Mayor Prentice and attempts to kill him with the knife he handed him. Instead, after a difficult struggle in which he suffers a terrible wound, he eventually defeats the mayor via the strength of his loudness. Using the mayor's noise control approach, he forms a circle of ladies about himself. He killed the ladies of Prentisstown, including Todd's mother. He confuses Mayor Prentice, and Viola tosses him off the edge of the wreckage after striking him with a pipe. He avoids the attack and clutches the pipe, but loses his equilibrium. Viola then lets go of Prentice, who falls to his death. The colony mothership arrives as Viola is tending to a seriously injured Todd, leading Davy and the other Prentisstown men to escape in terror. Todd regains consciousness later in the mothership's medical room, fully healed and with Viola at her side. Viola informs him that she will accompany him to the New World and brings him to meet the other colonists. There the movie ends. Thanks for watching the movie. For more such amazing movie recaps, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you in next amazing movie recap. Goodbye and take care until then.